Mobility has always been more than movement. It has fueled freedom, forged connections, powered commerce, and driven progress throughout history. Moving Minds is a series about the people behind the systems, the visionaries, experts, and builders shaping the future of how we move. These are voices that often remain within specialist circles, yet their decisions quietly shape the systems we all depend on. Our mission is simple: to bring their stories, insights, and experiences to the wider mobility industry, giving stage to the thinking and decisions that will define the future of mobility.
Hello everyone and welcome to the next episode of Moving Mind. Today I'm pleased to welcome Pawel Brzezinski, a cybersecurity leader with deep experience in automotive systems, embedded software, and secure platform architecture. Over the course of his career, Pawel has worked at the intersection of engineering, software, and security. He has helped shape how complex connected mobility systems are designed, built, and protected from the ground up. He is known for his architectural mindset and his ability to translate cybersecurity requirements into practical, scalable system designs. Pawel has played a key role in guiding organizations through the shift towards software-defined vehicles, increasingly connected platforms, and evolving regulatory expectation, always with a strong focus on building security as an enabler rather than a constraint. In today's Moving Mind conversation with him, we'll explore how Pawel's professional journey folded out, what motivates him and what works for him, what doesn't, and how he thinks about the future of cybersecurity in modern mobility ecosystem. So again, it's my pleasure. Pawel, welcome to Moving Minds.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, so Pawel, this is like the format that by now people may have enjoyed watching the other episodes that we had on Moving Minds. And as always, the first question is about the origin. So, what first drew you into the world of mobility or automotive, and how did you end up in your current role?
Actually, that was a little bit of a chance, really. I never planned to be in automotive. I never planned to be in cybersecurity, actually, from the get-go. But it was always somewhere around. So when I look at my career back from the old days, I started in web browsers in set-top boxes. So some embedded engineering, WebKit at the times. I loved graphics, so I was working on a graphics engine. I did some computer games studies, so I tried to go into that direction. It never happened. But while working with the web browsers, I intersected with automotive. I worked we had a contract with one of the British OEMs. We're deploying web browsers on their cars at the time. I worked with, at some point, we actually got some exploits. I had no idea about cybersecurity then, but we actually got a list of exploits that, hey, guys, please test if they work and then fix it. Yeah? Get it running, make sure that they don't allow you to break the browser. So that was kind of a first intersection. Of course, that was at the time for the Heartbleed bug. So I was tasked with updating OpenSSL on the browser to fix that. Then I moved to a completely different area that was industrial printing. So complete shift to another space. And actually, cybersecurity was also there because when we looked at the design of the printer and how the Bluetooth works, we're responsible for implementing the Bluetooth stack for that, integrating the Bluetooth stack actually. And we looked at the design and said like, hey, it's completely unprotected. You can go to the wall of the factory and you can connect to a printer and print whatever you want. Yeah, and the team said like, no, it's okay. We don't feel that that's a risk. Yeah, but they were quite new to software-defined printing. It was more hardware-based before, so we were kind of the first batch of people building software. By now, I assume that's already a long time fixed, but that was one thing that kind of triggered security mindset. And then I moved to Harman. When I applied to Harman, I applied to multiple different positions. I got accepted. They actually didn't know what to do with me in the very beginning. So they put me on audio. I did some unit testing. And because I really wanted to do C++, I met Roy Salomon. He came to, we actually had one call. They were looking for a team to work with TowerSec, with their IDS product. And I think we clicked with Roy. We had a call, then he came to Poland, we had an interview. And for me, it was actually quite fun because we had a task with a programming, and we had a task of learning some new technique. So I learned how to hijack cell signal at that time. I had to explain it to him. I think he liked it. And I started working with them. I started with IDS, then moved into more architecture, then moved to HSMs, then moved to certificate provisioning, key generation, factory floor development, advisory, architecture, and then I started the cybersecurity domain. So right now I'm a little bit of a what our VP said a few weeks ago. He said like every domain lead should be a T-shape, which means they should have a very wide knowledge of their area, a little bit of knowledge of all the other areas of the domains, but also have their deep expertise in one thing. So my expertise right now is regulatory landscape. So I'm trying to keep on top of those regulatory topics. But what I'm proud of myself is that I can talk to anybody about anything without sounding stupid.
Yeah.
So that's more or less my journey.
Yeah, quite an impressive journey, and it's not uncommon that people, are thrown into the waters of cyber and then they really enjoy it. So my next question is, what is it about your work that gives you a sense of purpose and lasting impact?
So automotive in cybersecurity, it's still quite young. It's, 10 years from a initial, what I usually call an initial incident that triggered like, maybe we are actually affected. But I see those incidents happening long time before. Maybe not cybersecurity, but just security, like odometer readings that were changed, and you buy a car. I once was trying to buy a Volvo, and there was lovely S80 available on the market used. I came by. The guy says, yeah, it's 180k kilometers. This drives perfectly. We looked at it. It was a little bit shabby in the inside, like, okay, but maybe somebody did not take care of it. And then I asked them, hey, give me an MOT, because I was moving to UK. I needed a car with a valid MOT, and there was like 400,000 miles. So those hacks were happening before. And for me, in automotive cybersecurity right now, it's still a huge unknown. It's getting better. A lot of people start understanding it. We have more engineers that understand it. But as IT security is mature, it's usually some new thing happening, but it's still a little bit of a race. But in automotive, it's a very huge race. And it's a race where the future is clouded in a fog of war. I think we don't still know what will happen tomorrow. What will be the next hack? Maybe it will be something small, like the one with the license plates and the remote control of the car. Maybe it will be something small, like the lights in Netherlands, where you can basically have a green light all the way if you know what to do. But maybe it will be something from the movies, where all the Teslas crash into each other, right? So for me, this uncertainty in the future is fun, because it means we're in a race. Yeah, so the advanced persistent threats, the threat actors, they are there. They think about what to do. They look at the financial point of what they will do. And our industry, I think a lot of projects are still not mature enough to handle it. And remember, in IT, you press a button, you update your system. In automotive, some cars are still there on the road with systems that are vulnerable. We know about it. And the only way of fixing that is taking them to the garage and making an update. How many of the users of the used cars will go to the authorized garage that can actually do it and know that they have to do it. They will go to small garage, they will get whatever mechanical fix they need, but software will be still outdated. And I think this is a huge challenge, that we live in a world where cybersecurity is not mature in the vehicles. The vehicles are rushing forward into the era of SDV. And we don't know what will happen tomorrow. So I'm looking through the news. I'm waiting, like, okay, what will be the next big thing to have a laugh about and then fix it?
Yeah, that's a interesting way to put it. So, but maybe you can share something about your job that most people, even in the industry, would be surprised to learn. Is there something that you can come up with?
It's hard to say, actually, because I'm more on the kind of management right now, but
something that on your day-to-day basis, if you look what's going on, you would say that is a surprise. That would be a surprise. I think genuinely people would be surprised to learn about this in the industry.
How do I do? I think it's a pretty regular job. I talk to my team, get my coffee, have a huge amount of calls. Maybe the thing that I work sometimes in the evenings because of the US, but that's not really. It's quite normal, pretty much.
Well, at the end of the day, what you're really looking for and what you expect is, okay, where's the next big thing? And this is actually the surprise that you are waiting for, probably.
Yeah, in a way, yes. What we do sometimes with my team, we have this monthly briefing, and that's something that may be interesting because we then speak about all the incidents that happen within the month, and that's usually quite interesting because that gives everybody around awareness that there are incidents. Actually, that sometimes even surprises me, like what exactly is going on, and what one of my researchers pick up. It's really fun to see.
Okay, I mean this is something. And by the way, was it or is it a surprise? Recently, there were many OEM related hacks all in 1 month, right? So was that a surprise, or is that maybe a predecessor of a next big wave that we need to wait for in the auto industry?
So it's hard to say. I don't want to make any conspiracy theories. It could have been a coincidence, but what it shows us is that our systems, in a way, work on the same basis. Each one of our systems has the same baselines, has the same kind of architecture, very similar architectures. And actually here I can refer to Auto Isaac, which mantra is attack on one is an attack on all. And that really makes sense because if we have, I don't know, the log4j, for example, the vulnerability there, everybody used that, which means if somebody cracks one thing somewhere, everybody else is vulnerable. And now think about it, if whoever discovered it just kept shut, said, okay, I don't care, I will not tell anybody about it, then next one and next one and next one will be picked up just one by one. And I think that right now we see that more and more groups are feeling that they actually can hurt automotive. And as we saw from the recent big event, it can be national-wide event. Attacking one company can trigger repercussions on the nation-wide area. So that should be a very yellowish and reddish light for everybody that we're not in the area right now where we were a year or two ago, where we thought, okay, the cars are not connected enough. Attacking a car, there is no value. There is a value now. We can see that this value for the nation state for the threat actors that actually try to disrupt things. This is a signal for them that, okay, we do one thing, we attack one place, and suddenly the whole country has a problem. This should be a very big exclamation mark. Hey, cybersecurity is important. And I cannot stress enough that still on the road, there are cars that were built 10 years ago with connected software. And some of them cannot be even updated anymore because there is not enough room, headspace in the hardware to make even a security update, because we're going into this maintenance cycles. I could go on and on about it, like how to maintain so many baselines for each car. Some of the companies have strategy to basically do a small updates every year. And then that's why you don't get like so great new cars every year, because they have to maintain it later on for 25, 30 years even. Because when we think about from the start of development till the last car is gone, it can be even more. So pretty much right now, when we think about those events, it's becoming much more effective. And those recent events showed that for the attackers, even without the autonomous cars and those movie gimmicks where autonomous cars get hijacked, they actually can get value from cybersecurity incidents in automotive. And this is scary. And the big question is, are we ready for it? That they will start running that more often.
Yeah. On that, in your view, what is the most misunderstood challenge in mobility in automotive? Is it that, as you said, one attack on one effectively is an attack on everyone because it scales? Is it because the life cycle is long? Is it because we still are maybe in a false sense of security, while we have a lot of vehicles, as you mentioned, who, excuse me, are potentially subject to being hacked? What is it that you think is misunderstood, if there's anything that is misunderstood in the industry?
So I think it's not even the cybersecurity area, because each one of those that you talked about is important. And I think a lot of people actually know about it. They don't use it, but they know about it. But I think the most misunderstood term and kind of way forward is SDV. I was recently on a conference, and we had 3 presentations on the SDV, and each one of them defined it differently. Somebody said software-defined is because it has an OTA. Somebody said that software-defined is the customer-defined vehicle. Somebody else said, okay, SDV is about the way we integrate and build software. And suddenly when you think about it, okay, so what exactly is SDV? And I think this is a challenge. What we don't know yet is we're using a term, we're saying, okay, we're SDV, we're software-defined vehicle, but what is it? What is it in the future? I already heard about cars where I think actually that was Volvo. I read an article recently that in EX90, Volvo decided, and that's a really good thing about them. That's a praise. They decided to replace the central compute unit in all the cars that they produced because it didn't have the right headspace to enable updates. They used older processor where they developed it. Now they replaced the whole board. I think it was about 100,000 on million cars, and they did it. That's the first kind of sign that SDV requires very strong hardware, because we want to manipulate car features and maybe even sell car features as software add-ons. And that takes me to my vision of SDV. And I think my vision of SDV is aligned to early Teslas, where the hardware was built to last, not on the quality level, but more on capability level. And then you can actually do a software-defined vehicle, because your vehicle is defined by the software that's running on it, not on the hardware that you put in. My dream would be, I have a car right now. And I must say, I didn't have enough money at the time to buy the top level version. I had to buy one trim lower. And I'm a geek. Sorry, I'm a geek. I love the technology on cars. I like those self-driving features, all the assistants. I test them as crazy as possible, of course, to the limits of safety. But I can drive without my hands on the wheel, monitoring everything very, very cautiously. But okay, will you turn on this particular area? Yeah? Will you do it? I love all the screens in the cars. I love to play with them. It's kind of like my wife is scared of that, but for me, it's really something that I love and enjoy. As I said, I'm a geek for that, and for me, for example, I would love for that car to have a capability to say, hey, the hardware is there in this lower trim. Therefore, in a year, we will develop a better software to enable the features of the higher trim in that car through software. And I am the kind of guy who is willing to say, okay, I will pay for it. Because right now I accumulated some money, I can pay for enabling additional features. Yeah? I'm actually even thinking that maybe they could say, okay, there is no hardware in that car. But because we have a screen, some of the features that are connected to some small buttons in the car, I don't know, I don't have a seat memory. Why can't we do it in software? And say, okay, you purchase it as addition. The seat has the whole setup for electric steering. Why can't I just have a screen saying, okay, there is a button saying me or my wife? Yeah, it would be lovely. And I think this is what for me SDV is, a way to use software to enable features and then to extend features. When we do a new development, we figure out a new way to do ADAS. We find a way to use the sensors to have a better algorithm for self-parking. Why not enable it in the future? And now, as I said before, today, and Volvo example is showing it very much, the challenge is the hardware. You need to make sure that you build this hardware on top, and the challenge is the business case. How do you monetize this better hardware versus the features that you can bring, and for how many of those features people will be happy to pay in the future?
That's very interesting. And by the way, the term self-driving, with your explanation, becomes very personal. So you are self-driving your car because you're scaring your wife. I like that kind of picture. What do you think are some of the most important, but maybe yet undervalued drivers in our industry?
So I think that drivers in the industry that are undervalued. I think it's sharing. That's one thing. So in Auto Isaac, we see that the more people share, the more value we get from it. And I think feeling safe in sharing is an undervalued space. The more we share, the more we can get from it, and all of us become safer. And I don't think about only threat intel. Because threat intel is one thing, but also sharing of experiences, sharing of challenges, sharing of information that we have, sharing of, okay, there is a new regulation coming up. Please take a look at that. This is what we do. And that's what we try to grow also in Auto Isaac community. In my company, as I said, I'm trying to do those monthly sessions with my team where they do a research throughout the month, and then they present what kind of incidents happened, like a post lessons learned, like what incidents happens in the industry. And we don't do it just for cybersecurity people. We open it up for everybody so that everybody can feel that there is cybersecurity in it. I think also an undervalued space is awareness and cybersecurity culture within companies. Because even though some companies may have the best cybersecurity people, if everybody else is completely clueless, you can have the best team in the world, but they have then a very limited space to work. So I think teaching and awareness is also a big challenge, and that's a big opportunity. Because if we grow it, if we make people on every level aware that there are cybersecurity challenges, we can win through that.
Yeah, And I know that you are very passionate about outdoor, Isaac. You love this sharing. You are very much present on those events. If we now look more specifically at your role and how it has evolved over, let's say, the last 3 to 5 years, um, what do you think it will demand from you next? So look at the last 3 years and what it has evolved or what has changed and what's all about. And now try to think what your role will look like and demand from you in the future.
Okay, so how it changed? I think I moved a little bit from away from engineering because I used to be very close to engineering, to solutions, to code, even to architecture. Now I'm more on the cybersecurity management side. As you know, I'm running the services department, and I think for this kind of job, what will change is there will be evolving needs coming from the industry. Right now, I see that we started with okay, there is a lot of engineering. Then we had a wave. There is a lot of consulting and engineering. Now I see there is a push for cybersecurity testing and consulting. What I feel will happen in the future, once again, we'll have a shift into more mature operations. I think cybersecurity right now is a little bit of an afterthought. One of my guys has this lovely mail base, like saying the design cybersecurity should be by design, not an afterthought. And I think this is where the industry and I will push to move towards that. We shift left the cybersecurity mindset. We start from the security design. I think Ampere on one of the last conferences showed a way to include cybersecurity already on the level of model-based system engineering. That while you build your models, you already have the potential attacks in mind. And I think those will be the skills that will evolve eventually, that we will not have architects and cybersecurity architects. We will just have capable cybersecurity enabled people at every level. And for me, this would bring more maturity. That cybersecurity will be more and more involved in the SDLC. That we will not build things without cybersecurity in mind. And that means we will need even more people aware of it. And that gets back to my awareness call from the previous question. Get people aware, get people understand what they do, get them understand the circumstances, the consequences of their actions. If you leave an open port or if you leave a backdoor in your system because you want to do a recall, easier recall later on, it's not a good engineering, right? So I think that the requirements on security will grow. The amount of security engineers needed will continuously grow. And I think there will be new roles for security, not only the security manager or security architect or security engineer, security tester, but we will have more roles within SDLC that will either specialize or generalize. I don't know really, but it will be much tighter included into the overall engineering process. And then also we will have the post-development part, where here I think it will evolve a little bit more towards IT, great. But one important thing to notice is that automotive, it's not corporate or enterprise IT. It is close to embedded. And in a way, you cannot reuse the resources who always worked on cloud and they understand cloud to understand the embedded system, right? Because it's completely different in many cases. So I think also what will evolve, we'll have a new line of SOC analysts, a new line of vulnerability managers who will probably go more on the embedded side and will need to learn embedded before they can take on work on a VSOC of an automotive OEM or a fleet manager, because this will be more closer to I would say, a TV or a phone that will work with on the other side, rather than a nice laptop-based, computer PC-based enterprise system.
Yeah. And if I hear you correctly, it's on one hand, it's important to have this shift left. On the other side, the operational part is equally important because you can design and do the pre-thinking as much as possible. In reality, we have seen that the threat actors are geniuses in trying to find ways to attack systems that nobody can think of when systems are designed. So, informing a comprehensive end-to-end cybersecurity model includes the shift left, but also the monitoring side, because there you may be faced with things that are unexpected and need to be weaved in as part of the SDLC. Do you agree?
Yes, I do. Actually, even when you release your vehicle, yeah, basically it's already outdated.
Right.
The first thing some of the OEMs do is OTA update right after going out of the factory, right? And then when you think about it, if this vehicle is 10 years on the road and you use an open source library, it gives the attacker 10 years to play with that particular version of your open source to find a bug. Actually, when you think about it, people find bugs in that throughout the 10 years. Are you sure you monitor it correctly so that you know that the vulnerability pops up and you know how to fix it and you have a way to actually deploy it? Great. You put another, you remove one box from the stack, you put another box on the stack. Does it fit? How many boxes you need to move around to actually fit it? I remember there was one of those comics with, I think, I don't remember which one was that, but there was like, okay, let's do a small update. Yeah, let's remove this open source component, put this one on, and then there's that second panel, like everything is falling apart. Like, okay, now I will just add this one and this will work, right? So yes, monitoring later on is very important, because the earlier we react, there is lesser chance that we will go into this patchwork of updating everything because one thing falls. Yeah. And also I think the risk appetite is still too big, because the higher risk appetite we have today, the high risk today is critical. It's overcritical tomorrow. The medium risk today is high tomorrow. Yeah. So maybe we need to also start thinking to the future, like, what do we accept now? This will grow. Now the question is, how far do we want it to grow? Right? How far we are actually accepting that this will grow. Yeah. That's something that's an original thought from just now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about risk in different terms. So now specifically to Pawel, what do you think in terms of your mindset or habit you rely on when things get uncertain or overwhelming?
What I try to do then is think again. Actually, I'm really happy that we have a CEO who we have, because this guy is amazing right now, and he's trying to support us as leaders. And we actually got a small book club within our company. At least we call it that. There are a few books that we are asked explicitly by the CEO to read to understand what he wants to do. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it, because it opened so many doors for me, like the mind doors, like, okay, why do we do it? This is why. And one of those books is Think Again. And this means think like a scientist. So the moment when you're overwhelmed, just take a step back, look at the topic again, carefully examine the data, then make an informed decision. But also do not be afraid to experiment. And sometimes I have a little bit of the scientist mindset, but I also have a little bit of a mad scientist mindset. That's actually why I failed one of the interviews. Because I sometimes jump into an experiment. I do an experiment, and then I have this like, okay, fail fast, learn quickly. Yeah. If I what I also learned throughout my life is like, is somebody who doesn't make mistakes, it means he doesn't do anything. Yeah? If you do something, you will make mistakes. The important thing is to learn quickly from them, and then be able to stop at the right time, step back, think again, examine the data that you gathered, and try again. Yeah? So that's my approach. Usually, I don't keep on doing the same thing. It's a definition of insanity. We had it when I was working with industrial printing. We always said that, okay, you compile, you put on the printer, it works. You compile, you put on the printer, it doesn't work. Okay, so you do it again and again and again, the same thing, and you expect different results. That's the definition of insanity. Huh?
Yeah, I think there's also a quote that Einstein put out, right? So if you continue to do the same thing and expect a different outcome, that's a definition of an insanity. I like that.
Exactly.
Now, when you think about the impact that you personally had along your journey, no matter if it was big or small, what are the things that you're most proud of? You touched at the beginning on something, but maybe there's more.
So, what I'm proud of, one thing, I made people laugh in a presentation about regulation. I think I brought it a little bit towards to people that regulations are not really completely. You can be passionate about them, and you can make a little bit you can convey them in a fun way that works. But I also think is my work with different conferences, my work on LinkedIn, where I try to, especially this year, I try to convey to people that regulations are not something that you follow and you're done.
Mm-hmm.
You need to go far beyond that. Regulations, I will quote Charles Wilson here. Regulation is a minimum agreed, which means it's not even minimum. It's just a way to trigger you to think, how do I secure my vehicle? And this is something to guide me, but it's not exhaustive list. And that's one thing that I'm quite proud of, that I think I managed to trigger a little bit of this thinking. I hope, at least. I managed to get some work done this year, so that's what I'm proud of. I'm proud of being chosen the vice chair for SAG in Auto Isaac and being in the European Steering Committee. I think those are quite big achievements, and I love the community there. And my kind of challenge for the next 2 years is to make sure I contribute back for this trust. That I managed to bring as much value to the membership there that they will actually like it, and they will feel, okay, those 2 years were useful,
Mm-hmm.
and we had a lot of sharing, and we got a lot of things done. What else I'm proud of? I'm proud of my 2 daughters.
Well, I think that your idea to post the security ABC is something that I would recommend to people who are watching here, and I encourage them to go to your profile, because I think that's a very smart idea, how to very simply, in simple terms, describe and provide what security is all about. And it's quick and digestible. And I think this is a great initiative. So congrats for that. I really enjoyed that part of the things that you publish. Now, I have to ask you about AI. We couldn't have a conversation without what is today the number one buzzword. So, how does it impact your role today? And do you think that AI tools have changed your perspective on your role in the industry and what drives us?
Are you sure you really want to go down this rabbit hole?
No, I just
I
want
know.
the 30,000 feet
Uh,
perspective on that.
okay. I actually love AI. I use it a lot. I use it sometimes to write emails, though I realize one thing: the moment when I write an email with AI, you know that's AI. I look at LinkedIn, I can spot AI from 1,000 feet. I will not I'm a very bad writer. So for me, even those posts on the automotive alphabet, it's very hard for me to write something without using an AI, but I have a very strong push right now to try to do it myself, like make it a little bit more personal than AI based. Anyway, I try to edit it, I try to guide it to do it. I think AI evolved a lot within the last few years, or at least that's visible to normal people, because AI was always there. I remember I came to Harman 7 years ago, and I think within the first year, we had one of the professors working here, who was a professor of AI in the University of Łódź here, where I live. And he gave us a very cool presentation about TensorFlow and how it works, how we can try to run it. He gave us an example of how they tried to use the AI in military to look at the images of tanks. And they showed the images of tanks, and they showed the images without tanks, and then they gave it to AI, learned it, taught it about it, and then they tested it, and it didn't work. And they tried to figure out why it didn't work, and then they realized that all the pictures of the tanks had a bad weather, and all the pictures without tanks had a good weather. So what AI was outputting was, it's a good weather, there's no tank, even though it may have been. Yeah. So it was already there, but it was more specialized. It was more machine learning. It was more hidden. Even I think during my studies, when I was studying like 15 years ago or more, it was already there, a little bit of AI was there. We had some neural network studies at that time, so it's there for a long time. But today, because we have this generative AI that is given to people and mostly for free, so you can just go to Perplexity or ChatGPT or Copilot, and you can just type something and suddenly, boom, it talks to you in a human language. That's what we see right now as an AI. But there is much more deep engineering behind it that was there before. What we're looking at right now, and a lot of people call AI, it's just a little like the tip of the iceberg that we see, but because it has such a big influence today on our lives, it's something that everybody talks about. But I also think that AI, to some extent, is a threat. And not only because it can not distinguish a tank in the bushes because there's a good weather, but because we overuse it. We had too much trust in it sometimes. And personally, I remember I started when R155 was there, and I started working with it. I asked AI, hey, tell me something about R155. And I had already read the document multiple times. I had hours of discussions. What did it do? It gave me the definitions. And I looked at those definitions, and that's marketing. And you see a lot of companies just spewing bullshit on the internet about R155. They had no idea, but they were doing it. I know a company personally right now that did not understand well the CRA. And then they started talking about it and writing about it. And I see like, okay, that's bullshit. You have no idea about what is it. You heard a few things around and you just outputted the article. And that's what AI is eating up. It's taking it in. It's for AI, it's truth because it's on the internet. So do not trust AI. I do not trust AI fully. I usually, for generative AI, I love using it as a text generator because, as I said, I cannot write. I'm really bad at writing. If you listen to me write, it will be completely incoherent. My master's degree thesis professor, he said like, oh shit, please fix it. Please fix it. Just write it like my grandmother should understand. Just make it simpler, please. I just miss a few things there and in my thought process. So AI helped me a lot in that, but I think we need to be careful with it. We should not abuse it and use it everywhere. Another example, using AI to interpret the requirement and then assign a value to it of availability, integrity, confidentiality. Not always works. Sometimes it can spew bullshit. Human will pick it up. AI may not. But there are some use cases that are a threat. In the cars right now, you have a lot of AI. And for a long period, there was no way of saying, okay, that's a threat. You go, you see it sees a sign, it matches the image, okay, it works. Yeah? But today I see, actually throughout the years when it changed, like in the beginning they said, okay, we tried to do it in a laboratory, we tried to spoof an AI, it worked. This year, they said, we tried it on the car, we perfected it, it works. Yeah. So just to conclude, with AI, sometimes you also have engineers working with AI, the code generation. Yeah. And here I will stop at that. Like if you have a bad engineer and give him an AI, you will have a worse engineer. If you have a good engineer and you give them AI, you will have a faster good engineer. And I will finish with the quote from Giuseppe, not from Cosimo Seni from Stellantis. Garbage in and garbage out. Yeah? That's
interesting
AI.
perspective. Now, if you look ahead, the next 5 years, let's say, in mobility and automotive, what excites you most about it?
So I think autonomous driving for me, for actually SDV and autonomous driving.
So not the Pawel self-driving, but the real self-driving.
Real self-driving. But so as I said, I'm testing mostly those systems. I'm trying to see where the limit is of their capability, and then I make sure I compensate. But I think for me, self-driving is something in the future. But I also know that, including me, I think a lot of people will still like to have a way to not the car without a wheel, yeah, but a car where I can say, okay, I'm tired, drive, yeah. You take the wheel, we go, and then, okay, I want to drive now. I want to take control. Okay, give me the wheel. I will drive now. So I think this capability would be lovely. Because if we go into totally self-driving cars, it will be no fun because it will be like public transport. Yeah? You get in a cab, takes you where you need to be. And if you think about it even higher level, if every single car on the road was self-driving, you would just have like long trains all around. You will just sit in, move, but it will be absolutely safe because there will be no unpredictable behavior. Yeah? If you have cars that actually are driven by humans in a self-driving world, that causes a little bit of a problem because self-driving car is expecting something that its model can predict. The moment when you have a human, it's absolutely unpredictable. And there is actually a warning for people coming from US to Poland. Do not rent a car. Unsafe driving. So autonomous cars would be fun, but with a limitation that they are not completely self-driving. They allow you to actually take control and then have fun a little bit with it. And also SDV, where my car would be growing with me. So that I don't buy a car for 2 years. I buy a car for 7, 8 years, and I can have fun with it technologically throughout those 8 years and not through the first 2 or 3. Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Now let's look again a little bit on the future, and with all the technology, everything that you mentioned, if you think about the future, what is it that keeps you up at night?
Post-quantum, for sure, because we're not ready for it. And I think the cars that are running today with a quantum computing potentially going on in 35, 40, I will give it a longer period. It may be earlier. Are absolutely unsafe, and this will be a huge explosion because every single car, every single data going through will be immediately unsafe doing the RSA. Yeah? AES is still fine. It will survive to some extent, which means crypto agility is a very important thing, but this was not implemented before. Therefore, you cannot really fix it unless you do the Volvo and you replace all the hardware in your old cars, which nobody will do because it will kill the industry. Another thing, most probably, is abuse of AI. So using it in a ways that are not safe in the longer run. And the third one would be that the threat actors actually find a business case behind attacking automotive industry. And the moment that happens, we're really into deep, because this will be the moment of a big check, of a big exam. Like, did we do a sufficient enough job to basically stop an extinction-like event in automotive, that the threat actors actually found a business case behind attacking the automotive in a ways they didn't do before.
Yeah, thank you for that. Now, the last question that I ask every guest on this show is, if there would be one thing that you could whisper, one tip that every young person entering this industry should know, what would it be?
I would say to not be afraid and apply and get inside as early as possible. Because automotive, I think, is still quite hermetic on the later stage. So if you like cars, if you look at the cybersecurity and you like cybersecurity, then this is the place for you, because always be fun. So do not be afraid. Look at the job description and feel, oh, I don't have like 1 or 2 years of experience, or I didn't do that, I didn't do this particular thing. You will learn. You can learn everything on the job. Believe me, studies do not give you much value. It gives you, so maybe not like that. Studies give you value in teaching you how to learn things on your own. And then you go into your job and you learn things on your own. You will never be ready for a job in the industry. It's not possible. You cannot be ready because things are evolving. Industry is not academia. You always have something new. You always have something innovative. You always have a new way of working. So start as early as possible in a track that you feel is something that you want. And especially in automotive, as I said, it's a hermetic community. You're going to be, if you're good, you will basically go around and around and meet the same people all over again, and definitely meet people, because those connections, especially in automotive security, that's your strength. To have a good group of people, good group of experts that you are connected to, you can talk about, you can share with, because they will also share with you whatever their problems are, whatever your problems are. That's a problem of the whole industry. And then you can react much faster to changing attack surface to your system. So we can break it down into automotive and cybersecurity. In cybersecurity, network, meet people, talk to people, build your kind of capability through that, and learn from people that are smarter than you. Yeah? I always love a person that is smarter than me, because this is where I can grow. The moment when I have people not smarter than me, that means, okay, I'm standing still. Yeah. So another tip, find a person smarter than you, follow them.
Pawel, thank you so much for sharing your time, your experience, and all the perspectives, which you reminded me all opinions are obviously yours. Your clarity of thought, architectural rigor, the long-term view on security, this is exactly the kind of voices that we need as the mobility industries continue to evolve. So again, thank you so much for being a guest, and all the best.
Thank you very much, Giuseppe. I really enjoyed it.
If today's conversation offered a new perspective on what drives mobility, we'd love for you to follow the series, share it, and tell us your thoughts. You'll find more episodes with the people shaping what's next. One question, one insight, one decision at a time. Until next time, keep moving forward.